In 2010, the documentary Catfish was released, and that's actually the origin of the term for people pretending to be someone else and tricking people online. Crazy how many people don't know that. The documentary follows Neve, a young man who's fallen in love online. But his heart is broken when, after investigating with his brother, he finds out that she wasn't who she claimed she was. A couple of years later, the show Catfish aired on MTV. Neve and his bestie Max would go on a journey to help other people with their online relationships. And so, as the years went by, Catfish was cemented not only as a successful TV show, but also, and perhaps most notably, as part of our vocabulary. It's changed the way we speak, our internet savviness, and now it's dying a slow and painful death because MTV won't stop renovating it. When I was in my teens, I used to religiously watch Catfish the TV show. I think pretty much up to season 7 I watched every episode multiple times. But even before the 2020 Zoom episodes, I was already watching it simply because, hey, been doing this since I was 12. In this video, I wanna go over the eras of the show, and what I think the problems are, and why I think that MTV should at least consider changing the host. Part 1, Seasons 1 and 2. Simpler times. Just two guys at the beginning of the 2010s and a shoestring budget. The happenings in the episodes are very simple. The catfishes hadn't gotten sophisticated yet, even though we still got iconic moments like Kiona and Bow Wow, or I gave her my bank account password, or whatever it is that Ramon said. And how could we ever forget?
You're gay. Obviously I'm not gay.
But while the plot, for lack of a better word, was still in its baby stages, the charm more than makes up for it. It's not the nostalgia, I swear. Neve and Max weren't celebrities yet. They were the random-ass chaperones that MTV sent to escort you to your run-through love. So they just kinda hung out with the person they were helping, resulting in more authentic, spontaneous content, let's say. This next point might very well be nostalgia speaking, so keep that in mind. But the show still carried the carefree nature of 2000s shows. But there were two things that stood out to me from the get-go, aside from the main premise and the stuff I already mentioned. The first one was Neve and Max's friendship. They're so cute together and complement each other so well. Now that I think about it, it's probably the only Libra-Capricorn power duo I've ever seen, ever. No, never mind. And the second, and probably most important one, at least for me, was that they traveled to the person's house and hung out there. In movies, you really only see the movie suburb, the movie New York apartment, the movie basement. So I loved to see people's real houses and how they differed from place to place and person to person, income to income. I loved seeing it. Yes, Catfish is said to dress people this way or that to show them in a certain light, but you can't really redecorate their houses just for one episode, you know? More often than not, they were so full of personality and I just loved seeing them. Aside from that, the hosts got really invested in the stories. You could tell that they truly cared and wanted to help. And it was the first non-queer TV show I ever saw that treated queer people normally without forcing any stereotypes or anything like that. Just treating them with respect and hearing them out. Part 2, Seasons 3, 4 and 5. With Season 3, things start going a little crazy and more diverse. There's the...
What voice are you using to talk to him?
The Tony voice.
Where a cousin was catfishing the other as revenge. A scam artist story with Lucille and Kid Cole. The girl from the pictures having her life ruined and asking Neve and Max for help with Felicia and Jacqueline.
You are a shameful citizen.
A couple lying to Catfish because they were too broke to meet and wanted MTV to pay for their plane tickets with Whitney and Bree, and many others. To me, this is peak Catfish. The stories are sometimes crazy, Neve and Max are still invested and having fun. Pretty much everything that I listed above, except that they don't really hang out with the people anymore. The episode formula is pretty set in stone and now they're celebrities, so hey, no time for you, peasant. I'm just joking, but yeah, the relationships with the victims are more distanced. Which, to be fair, is to be expected. You don't want flocks of people applying for the show just to hang out with the hosts. I guess there's nothing more to say about this section. When something's good, it's good. Period. Part 3. Season 6 and the first part of Season 7. Okay, here we go. This is when the cracks really start to show. Throughout the show's runtime, Neve got married, had kids, blah 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 blah. And with that came 1. The wife and kids, and 2. Him being progressively more and more distant from that guy who got his heart broken in 2012 or whenever it was. 2010, right? Wait, I forgot. Anyways, let's start picking the problems apart, starting from the wife and kids. Listen, I'm sure that Laura is a lovely person, but that just does not translate to the screen. And Neve started always trying to include her and it was getting really annoying. Another thing that the wife and kids kinda disturbed for a while was my beloved traveling to the victim's hometown. In Season 6, they did do that, flying people out to LA and renting houses for them. No! That made it so maddeningly impersonal. I hated it. And I suspect that the straw that broke the camel's back for them to try this was Neve wanting to remain close to his family. I don't know if that's related or not, but the show stopped really having those unhinged moments. But maybe it's because they were like, oh my god, I'm on hit MTV show Catfish, I'm not gonna be unhinged, everyone I know watches this. Whatever it is, I can only sort of remember the people by their appearances, like girl that should really floss, guy that looks like that one guy from high school that I hated and he's going to burn in hell, girl with really annoying nose, I'm usually against rhinoplasties but girl please, etc. Not a single memorable moment or quote comes to mind. And like, people are people. If you give them the space, they're gonna say something crazy. In season 14 of RuPaul's Drag Race, Diabetes said, "What's that called? Walking in the woods, it's like a gay thing." And Willoughby responded, "Hiking?" This is coming from someone who stopped watching Drag Race until further notice, by the way. But my point is, season 14! And still there are memorable quotes that I remember just off the top of my head. What's your excuse, Catfish? Next issue that really made itself present in season 6, Neve does not have the patience anymore. At this point, it's 2017, 2018, 2019. It has been 9 years since his heartbreak. I can barely remember why I fell in love with my first real crush in school 9 years ago. Like, I just forgot, you know what I mean? 7 of those spent hearing people make the exact same mistakes with the exact same problems. Like, dude, Neve isn't a professional therapist or anything like that. He's a photographer. He's not equipped to handle that year in and year out without it taking its toll. And now that I have excused our dear Libra host for his behavior, Jesus Christ and his troops, I wanted to choke Neve to death during this era. Like, dude, take a deep breath and earn your paycheck. Lucky that Max was there to keep him in check, right? Right? Throughout the runtime of the show, Max would sometimes go away to work as a director on something, but now he's actually like gone. Like, goodbye, find another co-host. And considering all the problems previously listed and the fact that Max was the only thing keeping zero empathy Neve in check, what do you think happened? Actually, the last half of season 7 isn't so bad. They had like 5 candidates for co-hosts, I think, and they kept rotating between them. Kemi, Tallulah, that pretty model, that cute ex-football player with the pretty eyes, and I'm not sure if there was anyone else. Whatever. Luckily, the renting LA houses was just a season 6 thing, so they're back to traveling to people's locations. And looking at their faces on the Google episodes list, once again, I can only remember them by annoying looking guy, alt girl who was dating Whitney Thorne's ex, etc. But in 2 episodes, the show got extremely lucky with the places these people lived at. They were so cool and different from the other places we visited, I was all heart eyes. The first one was Aubrey and Brian. She lived in a campus that reminded me of the university town in The Sims 3, but like in the fall, I didn't have the season's expansion pack, so like I only saw one version of that. But you know, I loved the place she lived at so much. And the second one was Christina and Faith. They lived in the middle of the snowy nowhere and tried to travel to a place that wasn't even accessible to during certain times of the year because of how cold it was. So yeah, enough of my obsession with the places. Let's go back to the season. Once again, no unhinged moments, no memorable moments really. So yeah. Kemi got the job. She was the most professional, nice, and had the best banter with Neve amongst the contestants. I like the guy with the pretty eyes because, like, Max was my crush, okay? Fight me. I loved him since I was 12 years old. So the football guy was another person who's nice to look at, but Kemi deserved it. Verdict: they distracted me with the new people and cool locations so I wouldn't be as mad at zero empathy Neve. Part 5, Season 8. What even is a season anymore? 97 episodes in a season! Regardless, I stopped watching during the Zoom episodes era. The last one I remember is Aaliyah and Paula. Not that I remember the episode, I just remember that her name's Aaliyah and she looks like Aaliyah. Is that how you say her name? So I don't know. So yeah. Episode 40. I didn't even make it halfway through the season. And I don't think I'm ever going to. Yeah, I'm making this video. No, I'm not gonna watch the last 18,000 million episodes because, dude, look at the downward spiral we've been on. I've seen enough. Anyways, once again, can only remember bits and pieces of the episode by looking at the people and going, oh yeah, guy who's high out of his mind all the time but is an angry chihuahua at heart. You know the drill. Pretty early on they have to switch to Zoom episodes because you know why. So here I lose the pretty settings that were distracting me from Neve. I don't even know how I got through 20 episodes of this. Kami understandably can't really keep him in check because like Neve and Max knew each other since they were kids. Kami and Neve are co-workers who get along really well at best. One episode that has burrowed its way into my brain is Kirsten and Alex. Kirsten had just went through a separation from her long-term partner and then met Alex. So Neve obviously goes talk to the poor ex because he's prime suspect number 1. And the guy is still obviously very upset and kinda sorta starts venting. And Neve very harshly cuts him off like, yeah, let's cut to the chase. There are more graceful ways to stop someone from trauma dumping. I'm this close to kicking Neve out of the Libra Association. Something else is that there were exponentially more people who seemed to be just seeking attention like, hey, I'm on TV, you know, with fake stories. And also loose ends and obvious questions left unanswered. The hosts were just sort of there, following the script. Whatever, who cares anyway? Looking back, you can see that Catfish lost all the things that made it special, aside from the bare bones premise. The besties, the earnestness, the care, the compassion, the honesty, the willingness to show your ugly side on TV, and at one point, the showcase of architecture and decor that I love, my beloved, all gone. And I truly think that the solution to most of this would be changing the host. I know, reality shows are as much about the hosts as they are about the contestants, allegedly, but we just went through a trial by fire with Neve here. Like, the first 2 seasons of Catfish UK, I loved. Haven't watched season 3 yet because, inconvenience. I can't really remember any memorable moments because I think that that's not gonna be fixed because people are so afraid of like public reaction and like their loved ones seeing them on TV being like a jerk. We're never gonna get like that type of TV where people were just crazy, you know? But it was very pleasant to watch because these people are new to the whole catfish wear and tear. So that's why I think that MTV should just let Neve go. He probably doesn't wanna go, but like kick him out or something. Well, that's just how it goes, I guess. At least we had the good times and can go back to watch those old episodes. Maybe it was fated to happen. If something's still making money, who cares, right?